A man's greatest strength can become his most profound weakness. The world clamors for authenticity, for speaking your truth. Yet, for the man who truly embodies this, the cost is often paid in silence and solitude. He discovers that the path of honest expression is not paved with applause, but with the harsh realities of social friction and existential loneliness. We are told to be ourselves, to express our inner thoughts. The digital age amplifies this directive, creating an echo chamber of performative vulnerability. But what happens when the truth one holds is not palatable? What happens when the inconvenient reality clashes with the curated comfort of collective delusion? The man who speaks such truths often finds himself ostracized, his words weaponized by those who prefer the illusion. Consider the soldier returning from war. His experiences, his stark understanding of life and death, cannot be easily translated into polite conversation. His truth is a heavy garment that separates him from those who have not walked the same shadowed valley. His silence is not a lack of words, but an acknowledgement of the chasm between his reality and theirs. This is the first layer of the price. Then there is the intellectual. He observes the world with a critical eye, dissecting its flaws, its hypocrisies, its comfortable lies. When he speaks these observations, he is often met with defensiveness, with accusations of cynicism or negativity. He learns that the pursuit of objective truth, stripped bare of emotional pleasantries, is a lonely endeavor. He risks being labeled as difficult, as uncooperative, as a pariah in a society that craves easy answers and comforting narratives. Why do men in particular often feel this pressure to temper their words, to dilute their truths? Perhaps it is a survival mechanism, learned through generations of societal expectation. A man was meant to provide, to protect, to lead. Open dissent challenging the status quo could be seen as a threat to the group's stability. But this instinct, once a virtue, can become a cage. Friedrich Nietzsche observed, "There are no facts, only interpretations." This is a profound insight into the subjective nature of reality. Yet, within one's own interpretation, within one's own grasp of truth, there lies a bedrock of integrity. To compromise that truth, to speak what is convenient rather than what is known, is to chip away at the very foundation of one's self. The commodification of authenticity is another modern trap. Social media encourages us to share our deepest thoughts, but only those that garner likes and shares. Genuine, uncomfortable truth rarely fits within the character limits or the algorithmic preferences. It is a performance of truth, not the living of it. The man who resists this performative pressure, who holds his truth close, is often misunderstood. He may be the father who sees the path his son is heading down, a path paved with distraction and superficiality. He knows the value of discipline, of focused effort, of delayed gratification. But to speak this truth to a son bathed in the instant rewards of the digital world, to warn him of the siren call of ease, requires a difficult conversation. It requires risking anger, resentment, the withdrawal of affection. The price of this paternal truth is a strained relationship, a potential rift. What is the alternative? To remain silent? To nod along with the prevailing narrative? To trade genuine insight for the hollow comfort of social acceptance? This is the path of least resistance, the path that leads to a quiet erosion of the soul. It is the slow death of conviction, the gradual fading of the man's inner compass. This is not a call to be abrasive for the sake of it, nor is it an endorsement of unsolicited harshness. Wisdom lies in discernment, in knowing when and how to speak. But there is a profound difference between tact and cowardice, between thoughtful articulation and the fear of consequence. The man who masters this discernment, who can speak truth with clarity and without malice, is a rare and formidable force. The isolation that often accompanies speaking one's truth is not a punishment, but a crucible. It is in this space, away from the clamor of agreeable voices, that a man can truly hear himself. It is where his convictions are tested and strengthened. He learns to rely on his own judgment, his own inner truth, rather than seeking validation from external sources. The world needs men who can see clearly, who can articulate what they see, even when it is unpopular. It needs men who understand that true connection is built on honesty, not on shared illusions. The price of such honesty may be steep: solitude, misunderstanding, even enmity. But the reward is a life lived with integrity, a self uncompromised. This journey requires a stoic fortitude. It demands the courage to stand alone, to be a solitary pillar of truth in a sea of fleeting opinions. It is the strength of a man who has looked into the abyss and found his own steady gaze. The comfortable world will always prefer the easy lie, but the disciplined man seeks the difficult truth. He understands that the whispers of approval are transient, but the resonance of his own integrity is eternal. The path of speaking truth is not for the faint of heart. It is for the man who values his own soul above the fleeting favor of the crowd. He walks his path, illuminated by the quiet fire of his own convictions, a beacon in the encroaching twilight of manufactured consensus. He is a man who has paid the price, and in doing so has found his true self.